don't think there's a scene anymore. Where is it now? I think there's a big club scene. What happened was, in the late 90s, the sounds kind of merged together, rave and club. Now that's all that's left is clubs. So, I mean, if you're doing rave-type parties in clubs, it's still not like a real rave.
In 1990, the first U.S. rave happened in abandoned warehouses in New York City.
We start out with like 40, 50 people. The next party had 100, then 200. Every party doubled in size until we did 5,000 people.
An underground movement started by a few generated hundreds of thousands in a short decade to follow. It was a time of music, art, a lifestyle foreign to everyday life.
The Storm Raves had a feeling, you know, it was just more for the rave and not for the money and the business, where a lot of raves sort of after that were trying to capitalize on it.
Warehouses, rental halls, and outside locations would serve as venues.
In Maspeth, Queens, in a truck loading warehouse in 1992. That was a crazy night. We never expected that many people to come out.
Playing in secret locations for hundreds that mushroomed to convention centers and stadiums led to a subculture where kids young as 13 would party through the early morning.
It's a really great time for us, for sure. It was sort of the beginning, you know. We were a lot younger, and it was a good feeling to get the parties. You know, it was sort of a unity between kids from like all the boroughs in New York.
Unsupervised and free, the ravers experienced this life from the DJs, promoters, and of course, the drugs.
What attracted you to it? What did you like about it? To me, to keep coming back. What is it?
There's a fundamental difference between America and England in dance culture. In England, people grow up with dance culture. It's exposed to them very young, and it's in all forms of media. It's on the radio. It's much more sort of accepted as a mainstream music. In America, because it's so niche and so alternative, kids are attracted to it who are looking for something really like alternative and weird, and so they get into it, and then they get into the drugs, and they just burn out. They go hell for leather. It lasts a couple of years, and then they move on. What happens in England? Kids get messed up on drugs, sure, but they don't. When they put down the drugs, they don't put down the interest in the music. In America, kids kind of like burn out on the drugs and think that have to burn out on the music, so they find some other form of music to be into, whether it's hip hop or whatever.
My first party was spooky. 1996, Madison Square Garden. Let me show you. I was my first party. I showed up there in a Notre Dame starter jacket. I didn't know shit about parties, bro. My boy goes to me. He goes, "Yo, give me $30." I'm like, "For what?" I'm like, "What do you want $30 for?" He goes, "Bro, just give me the $30." Give him the $30. He hands me this thing that looks like a communion wafer. Best night of my life. Yo, it was all downhill from there, though, by the way.
The rave culture in America is based on drugs, I think.
But their fun would come to an end by the overuse of drugs, raids by police, and infiltration by gangs who dominated the scene and eventually ran it into the ground.
A lot of people jumped on the bandwagon with this thing because they wanted to make money.
From the Storm Rave time until now, it's seen really good highlights and pretty bad lows, you know.
But like every culture, when it was thriving, every week tens of thousands of kids would go out to experience something they would never forget. Raves, a decade of dance.